I have to say, this is the worst looking dessert I've ever seen in my life. It's terrible.
Today, we're serving up the most foul, flopped, and flat-out frightening dishes to ever disgrace a white plate.
What is that?
Raw.
Completely wrong.
So you can't come up with the crisp at the end and stick it on top. All you have as a bread dessert.
So, buckle up. It's time to roast the most visually vile, stomach-turning catastrophes this show has ever seen. Bon appetit? Nope. Never mind. Season 13, Episode 5.
Starting from tonight, you'll cook alongside everyone else from your home region.
Yes, dude.
For first challenge, first shot at glory, first disaster incoming. The top 20 roll in, ready to dazzle with their state fair-inspired dishes. Stakes sky high. The best dish locks in immunity for an entire region. One shot, 60 minutes, no do-overs.
You will have access to all of the ingredients, everything that you will need to cook an elevated version of classic state fair food.
Richie from the Northeast steps up first, proudly presenting his deconstructed cheesecake. Mascarpone crema, graham cracker crust, berry compote, candied bacon, sounds like dessert royalty, right? Well, not quite. The judges take one look and instantly regret their life choices.
This is disappointing, and I'm looking at this and I just can't see State Fair realize, I just see garnishes. You understand what I'm saying?
While another judge acknowledges the bacon is good, too bad it's stranded on a plate of nothing.
But I suppose what I want to see is it elevated into a dish.
With all of this exterior goodness, we wouldn't be even talking right now.
And then there's the most brutal verdict of all. This isn't even food, just an unfinished idea.
I think with this dish, you're not even playing the game. You didn't listen to what we asked for today. This dish would make an excellent ice cream topping.
It's not a dish. Next up, we head down south where Kendall serves up what might be a dish, if only it knew what it was supposed to be. He presents an herb-roasted chicken kebab with potato croquettes and bacon-wrapped asparagus. Sounds promising until you actually see it. One judge immediately questions the portioning, and Kendall, in a move of bold honesty or complete surrender, admits this.
Is the proportion of each item intentional, or is it just kind of random?
Just kind of random.
That look of suspicion on Joe's face says it all.
I really and truly kind of threw it together at the end.
You can definitely see that.
Yes, sir.
There's a brief silver lining, the chicken is cooked well. Small victories. But then, the potato croquettes take a hit.
I think those croquettes are crispy on the outside, but zero seasoning, which is very un-southerly of you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And suddenly, it's clear. This dish has no direction. One judge sums it up best. Kendall had an idea, but somewhere between concept and execution, it wandered off and got lost. Not the worst dish in history, but definitely not the work of someone who plans on sticking around.
It's not terrible. I would eat it, but it's lacking in opinion.
And now, representing the West, we have Amanda and her roasted codfish tacos. A homemade tortilla, 2 sauces, and a dream. What could go wrong? Well, everything.
One is a very fresh green sauce, and one is a very spicy red sauce.
One glance, and it's clear these tacos look like they gave up on life.
Amanda, they just look sad.
The tortillas? Pale, dry, and begging for some color. The kind of sad, lifeless presentation that would make even a gas station taco look gourmet. Ramsey points out the brutal truth.
I can nip outside and 300 meters down the road, I can buy one at $3 that will look better than those.
There's a moment of hope. Tacos can be elevated, but not like this. Ramsey then delivers the final blow. Not the worst thing ever, but definitely not something that belongs in this competition.
Sadly, my tortilla was very thick, very dry. There's no acidity, there's no slaw, there's no heat.
Amanda set out to impress, but instead, she served up mediocrity in a tortilla.
Knowing what you stood for,
I should have just done my...
I'll just quickly finish my sentence, please. I'm thinking back to the audition and the wow factor. I think you've gone down a notch.
In the next challenge, they had to cook a dish, sweet or savory with apples.
You'll have 1 hour to cook your apple dishes.
60 minutes starts now. Good luck.
Richie decides to go the dessert route with spiced home cakes with apple compote and tarragon whipped cream.
I wanted to make cupcakes, but they didn't rise on time. I'm switching it up and calling it a home cake instead of a cupcake.
Well, turns out, home cakes is just Richie's way of rebranding failed cupcakes. and he tried doing it so cleverly.
So this was a nod to my grandmother. She used to make home cakes. They were meant to be placed underneath the sauce, and then the sauce would soak it up.
One judge sees right through it and calls him out for the nonsense.
Home cakes. Didn't you start calling them cupcakes? Did they become home cakes as they lost their levitation?
The dude refuses to admit he messed up, and honestly, that level of delusion isn't gonna do him any favors.
I just wanted to call them what they are.
You wanted to call them what they became?
Joe is often arrogant, but when he delivers a gut punch, he delivers. And let's admit it, he has a strong BS detector.
Cupcakes, home cakes, call them what you want, they're no good.
Respect that.
Thanks, Richie.
Thank you.
Look at the tasting sequence. The apples? Just chilling on top instead of inside the cake, which one judge calls a complete miss.
Apples look like a bit of an afterthought. Are there apples included in the batter as well?
No, so I wanted the apples to sit on top.
Gotcha.
The cream? The only thing remotely decent, and that has nothing to do with apples. And then the knockout punch. These cakes have the density of a brick.
So there's an issue, I think, with the ratio of how you weighed out those ingredients, and the recipe doesn't seem like it's on point.
Heavy, dense, lifeless. Basically, Richie just served up construction material with a side of whipped cream. This was week 2, and he's already circling the drain. Next up, Charles from the Midwest, proving that just because you can doesn't mean you should. His pan-seared red snapper with apple and potato scales and white wine applesauce hits the table, and immediately, one judge looks like they've seen a crime scene. The plating? All kinds of wrong.
This looks all kind of wrong. The idea of white wine, apple, and then you just told me jalapeno is for color.
Foolish. And then comes the real kicker, he forgot to cook out the alcohol. So instead of a smooth, velvety applesauce, we've got a boozy mess that could double as a failed cocktail. Bold strategy, Charles.
The puree does not work. It's a shame because you've got the technical flair, but you just didn't execute it properly.
The fish? Perfectly cooked. But this isn't top fillet, it's MasterChef. And when the best part of your dish is the part you didn't mess up, you're in trouble. A good snapper completely drowned in poor execution. From the West, we have Lizzie, who presents pan-seared scallops with apple and celery root puree, apple salad, and apple chutney. Sounds elegant, right? Well, looks tell a different story. One glance at the plate and it's clear something went terribly wrong. The scallops? Absolutely torched.
The scallops are hammered. They're just way too severe.
More cremation than caramelization. There's a brief moment of mercy, the puree and bacon aren't bad. But let's be real, bacon makes everything taste better, so that's hardly a win. The real issue? This dish lacks direction.
Yeah, Lizzie, don't get enamored with too many techniques. You gotta get the basics right.
It's like Lizzie threw apples at the plate and hoped for the best. Unfortunately, hope doesn't cook scallops or save a dish from going up in flames.
At this point, the level is so high, I want to have food that's thought out. Give me some thought behind the dish.
Episode 8's Mystery Box Challenge was all about the humble whole chicken. Simple, classic, impossible to mess up, right? Enter Sarah from the Midwest.
Sarah.
She goes ambitious with a chicken roulade with roasted potatoes and tomato and cucumber salad. But ambition means nothing if the execution flops, and flop it did. The roulade? Drier than a stand-up comedian's wit. One bite and you'd be reaching for a glass of water and a life raft. A judge gives her credit for guts, but that's about where the compliments end.
This dish kind of reminds me of a lot of those Italian chain restaurants, and that's not a good thing.
You know, the kind that comes with unlimited breadsticks and regret? Not exactly MasterChef material. Sarah took a risk, but instead of soaring, this roulade crash-landed straight into mediocrity.
The chicken's overcooked. It's obviously falling apart in the dish. It's not what you promised.
Jennifer came in hot after 2 straight wins, only to absolutely crash and burn. Her roasted chicken breast with charred greens, chicken gravy, and southern-flavored risotto should have been a home run. Instead, swing and a miss. The first red flag, the plate itself.
Visually, it looks strange. It's the dish that doesn't sound like it goes together.
Then there's the chicken, the supposed star of the dish, which barely made it to the party. It's shoved on the plate like an afterthought, as if Jennifer only remembered at the last second that this was a chicken challenge. And then the risotto. Oh, the risotto. A mushy, tragic mess. One judge takes a look and basically decides this isn't even a dish. It's more of a culinary identity crisis.
The risotto is overcooked, and it's not by any reference point a risotto. It's arborio rice done with New Orleans mirepoix.
Sure, the chicken seasoning was nice, but let's be real. When the best thing you can say about a dish is, well, at least it's not bland, you're in trouble. And Ramsay? He had more concerns.
The chicken gravy is just, gummy and just not what you serve with the risotto. This doesn't taste like the Jennifer that I know.
Ramsay was salivating at the thought of Purvi's buttered chicken. But unfortunately, it didn't live up to expectations.
And I made butter chicken with naan.
Butter chicken is supposed to be inviting and warm, and it's got that fragrance to it, but it looks dull.
I don't know. One could argue that it did look colorful. But let's get down to the taste.
You're gonna really kind of raise the bar on yourself so high by doing an iconic dish, and that's your ethnicity too, so we're expecting so much. And I just feel that this wasn't butter chicken like I wanted.
The judges huddle up, looking more like a jury delivering a guilty verdict. And the decision? 2 chefs are getting the boot. That's how disastrous these dishes were. One elimination wasn't enough. Sarah and Purvi both got the boot. But for me, it's unbelievable that Purvi got sent home instead of Jennifer, who completely messed up the risotto. Her dish was a disaster, while Purvi's looked pretty good, to be honest. She even said,
I don't remember which one of the judges did tasted my sauce and they said it was good. So I was fully confident that I will be in top 4.
The reviews on her dish were pretty vague. They mentioned that her dish tasted of raw spice and that the naan was slightly undercooked. It felt like they were nitpicking at straws with her dish.
Purvi, this was in your wheelhouse, so I'm saddened because I just know this is not the best butter chicken that you ever made.
But it didn't seem so bad that she deserved to go home. The way Joe talked about Purvi's butter chicken, as if he knew better than her what it should look or taste like, came off as really entitled to me. Creating truly delicious Indian food can be challenging without the proper setup and ingredients. With all those spices involved, it's crucial to toast them just right and marinate the meat properly. It takes a lot of time.
The naan I cooked was perfectly done and I started doing something else, so half of that naan was burnt. So I had to cook another one and I didn't have time.
Look, I get it. If she made a bad dish, she made a bad dish. Just because she's Indian doesn't mean she's automatically great at making butter chicken. But it was odd. Her dish didn't seem terrible to warrant a double elimination, just a bit underwhelming. It didn't really seem like she deserved to go home.
Before that, to be honest with you, I did not know that was his favorite dish. I would have never cooked it, no matter what.
But what do you think? Don't forget to let me know in the comments. Season 11, Episode 5 featured pastry queen Sherry Yard. The challenge was to create a restaurant-quality dessert.
The home cook that doesn't meet our standards tonight, and especially our legend Sherry Yard standards, will be eliminated.
3 dishes went up, 3 dreams took a nosedive. First up, Abe Koenig. He served
A pomegranate tart with a pistachio brittle and a Italian meringue.
Sherry had some initial concerns based solely on the appearance.
Wish it didn't look so pool-like and underbaked.
Instead of a firm, glossy filling, out came a tsunami of pomegranate soup.
It's literally like a bathtub full of liquid pomegranate.
It looks like something the makeup department of a A24 horror movie would use. The crust held its ground, but the filling? No spine, no structure, no hope. One judge called it immature, you can guess who, which in the pastry world translates to go home and practice.
Brittle is stuck on one side of my mouth and the pomegranate seeds stuck in the other side of my mouth, and that's not enjoyable at the end of a meal.
Then Anai's avocado cheesecake, or rather, a cheesecake impersonator. She didn't just forget to bake it, she left the actual mold underneath, as if it were a crucial ingredient.
Underneath?
Oh. Yes, chef.
Was that an accident?
It didn't set, chef, so...
It didn't set?
Yes.
Okay.
A judge called her out for taking shortcuts, but let's be real, this wasn't a shortcut, it was a dead end.
I'm in shock. The base is uncooked. I think you rushed the whole thing.
Joe put it very bluntly, and I have to agree when he said,
This is MasterChef Legends. To not bake or cook anything in a baking challenge for me is a disappointment.
And finally, Matt Gagnon's black garlic chocolate cake. Now, chocolate is a gift, a universal joy, and yet Matt looked at chocolate and thought, you know what this needs? A punch of fermented garlic. One bite, and all the judges could taste was regret.
It isn't working.
You know what it tastes like? It's like you left coffees in the coffee machine, grinds, and you take the rotten coffee grinds and you whip up a cake with them.
You're absolutely right.
Ambition without vision is just an expensive mistake. Episode 6 featured
the legendary Michael Mina.
The task for the contestants was to cook up a restaurant-quality dish using whatever cut of beef was in their mystery box. The expectations were sky high, and for good reason.
We expect you guys to have mastery of some of these basic cooking techniques, braising being one of them. You didn't have the technique.
First up, Anne.
Braised beef cheek with a creamy polenta, roasted root vegetables.
She tackled braised beef cheek, a dish that, when done right, melts in your mouth. When done wrong, it just sits there confused. The plate looked as exciting as an office lunch, and while her sauce earned some love, the real issue? Anne braised like someone who just learned the word yesterday.
I wish that you had cut the cheeks up that size at the beginning, so they'll cook 2/3 earlier.
If you don't know how to coax magic out of a tough cut of meat, you're better off choosing something simpler. Unfortunately, Anne learned that lesson the hard way.
Yeah, this is frustrating because it has all the ingredients for a successful dish. It just needs to be realized better.
Then came Lexi, armed with a New York strip steak.
Lexi, we're getting down to the top 10. That's what's just around the corner. And quite frankly, it doesn't scream a top 10 dish.
A gorgeous cut of beef until she gave it a slightly overcooked farewell. The potatoes? A disaster on two fronts. For Ramsay, he said,
Potatoes could be way better. Sort of bland. It's not that difficult to do a great potato.
And white potatoes set off one judge's rage, like personal insult you can guess who, and the rest were just undercooked. The mushrooms pulled their weight, but the dish was a textbook case of good ideas, bad execution.
There are some great flavors here, but it's dry. You need a sauce on this dish.
Okay.
And then there was Matt. He had a filet mignon, the luxury sedan of steaks, and somehow drove it straight into a ditch.
Matt, it looks like you struggled. I'm a little bit in shock. Unfortunately, there's a big difference between searing and scorching.
The pan sauce, office the Brussels, office the mashed potatoes, just there. One judge politely told him he didn't hit the mark. Translation? He missed the entire dartboard. This competition demands more than passable.
This is a dish you would get in a restaurant with anonymous cooks where it doesn't really matter what you're eating or who's cooking it for you.
That is a bit harsh. I personally cannot afford to eat out at expensive restaurants with Michelin-starred chefs, but a humble dish, nicely cooked at a not-so-famous restaurant by not a celebrity chef? Yeah, I make sure to pay my compliments and learn the chef's name. What about you? Episode 14 introduced Ludo Lefebvre, the legendary French chef, as the guest judge. Instead of ingredients, their mystery boxes held.
Why is there a clock under here?
A not-so-subtle hint that the real test was time management, strategy, and nerves of steel. The rules? Ruthless. Each contestant had 75 minutes total, but they had to cook French cuisine in 2 rounds. After finishing their first dish, they would hit their timer, freezing their remaining minutes for the second round. The best first-round dish earned immunity, while everyone else had to cook again, with only the time they had left on the clock. And for one unlucky cook, a second subpar dish meant the end of the road. Michael served potato leek soup with white asparagus wrapped in prosciutto, but the presentation left much to be desired, more cafeteria tray than fine dining.
Potato leek soup with a crispy potato and leek on top, and then I have white asparagus wrapped in prosciutto and pan-seared.
Did you whip it?
I whipped it, yes. They were thick, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's happened. So it's gone gloopy.
Gotcha.
The soup itself? A thick, unappetizing sludge that had all the elegance of mashed up leftovers. Ludo didn't hold back.
Potato, mashed potatoes. Very good for baby food. And the side dish was not necessary.
Baby food, and not in a nostalgic, comforting way. It's terrible. Sue, on the other hand, delivered côte de porc charcutière with a pearl onion tarte tatin and frisée salad.
Pearl onion tarte tatin and a light frisée salad.
The tarte tatin was restaurant quality perfection, but the pork chop...
It's a little undercooked. It's a medium rare to rare. That's unfortunate.
The judges declared Alejandro the winner, securing his spot as the first semifinalist. While he enjoyed the luxury of the balcony, the rest had to fight for survival in round 2. Michael attempted a classic chicken fricassee with white wine Dijon sauce, potato puree, and roasted carrots.
Otherwise known as chicken fricassees, with a mashed potato puree.
Unfortunately, the execution missed the mark entirely.
How do you feel it looks?
A little bit sloppy on the plate.
Mashed potatoes looks a little bit watery. I don't know where that water's coming from. What is that?
The plating was messy, but that was the least of his problems. The chicken?
It's pink.
Well, this is raw. You can see all the raw tendons in here. Well, that's where all this water's coming from.
Practically still clucking. Yikes. That looks so pukish. The judges winced their way through the dish, and whatever bites they could safely eat were overpoweringly salty, as if he had mistaken the salt shaker for a measuring cup.
You are in love. That's what we say in France. You know, when somebody's put too much salt, we say the chef is in love. Today you're in love, for sure.
The Frenchies being weird with their analogies again. But you get the point. Kelsey presented a sole meunière with rice pilaf. It fell completely flat, both in presentation and execution. The butter, which should have been rich, nutty, and golden, looked more like an afterthought.
The essence of a saumonier is the nut brown butter.
I mean, your butter looks like it's ready for popcorn, not for sole.
Gordon didn't mince words. This was her weakest performance yet, and in a competition this fierce, there was no room for missteps.
Just a lot of defects here, and I think you know it.
This is sole with lemon and butter that you would cook for a child. It's not a bistro dish.
Ouch. The Season 10, Episode 9 Tag Team Challenge was a spectacular disaster, chaotic, frustrating, and almost painful to watch.
You'll be cooking some of our favorite dishes from all of our sister shows.
The challenge was straightforward on paper, 6 internationally inspired dishes plus one of their own creation. None were particularly complex, but the sheer number of moving parts made it a logistical nightmare. 75 minutes to juggle proteins, sauces, and frying temperatures while constantly swapping cooks. A recipe for disaster.
So you also have to add one more dish of your very own to that platter.
And with this ominous 7th dish looming, it was less about creativity and more about survival. If teamwork makes the dream work, Michael and Liz were living a full-blown nightmare. Their fish tacos?
It's raw.
It's not even seared. That's dangerous.
A bold choice if the goal was food poisoning. The samosas were in some kind of identity crisis.
Look at that. I've got all that raw dough in there. You don't need to take the potatoes so far into mush.
The pot stickers weren't sealed, meaning they fell apart on contact, and worse.
And why are they sat in this oil? What is that?
It's a sesame oil.
Yuck. It was a full-blown health hazard for Ramsay.
I've just got this oil explosion of sesame seed that has absolutely numbed my jaw. Right now I could take a seat and pretend I'm at the dentist. It's that numb.
The spring roll and beef skewer overcompensated for all the other disasters by being aggressively overseasoned. The meatballs?
You didn't use egg either, right?
No, Joe.
The meatballs are really hard, really dry, really difficult to eat.
And then there was the shrimp tempura, which was supposed to be served with a delicate, homemade ponzu sauce. Instead, they threw together a mix of sriracha and soy sauce and tried to pass it off as something sophisticated. Joe wasn't buying it, delivering a blistering reality check.
You can't come up here and fake it and put sriracha. Please respect our intelligence and don't bring us crap.
7 dishes, 7 failures. A complete masterclass in what not to do in the kitchen. Sam and Sherry were the final team to present, and if the previous disasters had set the bar low, they somehow found a way to limbo under it.
75 minutes for that.
Their pot stickers? Raw. The taco looked incomplete, like a bad group project where someone forgot their part.
I'm just missing fruit, missing acid.
Their spring rolls were rolled up disappointment. The meatballs barely had time to simmer, meaning they had all the depth of flavor of boiled ground beef.
15 minutes.
Yeah, that's not enough. Too bad.
The beef skewers? Completely naked, abandoned without a sauce to save them.
Aside from being one-dimensional because you only put peppers, the cook on the beef is actually pretty good, but incomplete.
And in a final act of defeat, their 7th dish?
We didn't get to it, Joe.
Yep, didn't even manage to put up a 7th dish, opting instead for the bold culinary technique of giving up. Episode 13.
It's time for our next mystery box. And it's our biggest one yet.
The mystery box held nothing but a humble loaf of sourdough, but the challenge was anything but simple.
Not only do you have to make us an amazing bread dish, you have to make us 2 amazing bread dishes.
The home cooks had to transform it into both an entree and a dessert. With full access to the pantry, creativity was key. The judges wanted elegance, and anyone who played it too safe would be the one getting sliced.
Sandwich is not going to cut it. And if you just serve us toast, let's face it, you'll be toast.
Nick took an ambitious route, transforming sourdough into
bread and potato gnocchi with uni butter and a applewood smoked egg yolk.
It was a clever idea, but execution faltered. The gnocchi leaned dense, lacking that light, pillowy texture expected in a well-made dish.
Do you know what the enemy of gnocchi are? Flour. Because flour will make gnocchi hard. And you were going at that flour like Pablo Escobar.
While the flavor profile earned praise, the texture kept it from soaring. His dessert?
A strawberry shortcake on a basil butter toasted brioche.
It was another bold attempt that didn't quite land. Even before the judges spoke, Nick admitted it wasn't his best effort.
I think my dessert is sort of a MasterChef Junior dessert. Try to get all the flavor out of the basil and hopefully into the bread.
Gordon agreed, but acknowledged the ambition behind the dish. While Nick's creativity was undeniable, it seemed like he bit off just a little more than he could chew.
I just love that creativity, but it's hard to pull off.
Yep.
Brie played it surprisingly safe, opting for a French onion soup served in a sourdough bread bowl and a blackberry clafoutis with brioche and pistachio crumble. The issue?
I look at these dishes and I'm just, how was 60 minutes used to your advantage?
Yep, neither dish justified the full hours she had to work with. The soup suffered the predictable fate of a bread bowl gone wrong, soaked through and lacking structure.
There's no soup in your soup.
Oh my God.
Joe didn't mince words, telling her it wasn't up to the standards of the competition. As for the dessert, Gordon took personal offense.
The dessert, for me, is an insult to France. A clafoutis, it's actually cooked in the mold.
Whatever Brie presented missed the mark entirely.
When you climb so high and you reach a certain point and you fall, the fall is steep.
Seeing her break down in tears, Gordon seemed genuinely baffled, asking why she sabotaged herself. It was a disappointing showing from a cook who had previously proven she could do much better. Sam's dill-crusted snapper with butter sauce and romesco potatoes had potential, but execution let him down.
Yeah, so that's over.
Yeah, fish is overcooked. Okay.
Always a fatal flaw in a high-stakes challenge like this. The potatoes, however, were the standout, fragrant, and well-seasoned. Unfortunately for Sam, this wasn't a potato competition.
And you've turned it into something that tastes almost like it's a commercial frozen product because you can't identify what fish that is in there.
Joe reminded him that, at this stage, they expected more. His dessert, a cardamom-spiced bread pudding, failed to deliver any complexity. Joe said it tasted like honey and little else, one-note and uninspired.
Man, honey is dangerous.
Forget the honey. Apricot citrus glaze would have absolutely lifted that dish.
Understood, chef.
For a challenge meant to showcase versatility, Sam's dishes played it too safe and fell flat. Suba's chicken mulligatawny soup in a bread bowl was a triumph, bold, soulful, and packed with flavor.
I know tonight you got a little bit emotional. This is all about home and cooking for the wife.
You're homesick?
Yes, my wife. I love her dearly, but I hope that I made her proud with this dish.
Suba's finesse and understanding of spices shone through in his savory course, proving once again that he had a knack for layering flavors beautifully.
I'm calling my mum, and I'm going to tell her in a couple of months' time when I get home, I want a bowl of mulligatawny made with chicken, okay? It's delicious.
Thank you.
High praise. Then came the dessert, and things took a disastrous turn. His rose and saffron bread pudding was less of a sweet treat and more of a fiery endurance test.
It's not only the worst looking, it's one of the worst tasting desserts.
The judges weren't just put off, they were practically gasping for air.
I'm sort of... I'm like, why does the dessert have to be that spicy?
If there were a prize for making the judges sweat, Suba would have won it hands down. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.